Hi everyone, we're back for another video. Fun fact, this is my third time trying to record this because the first time my mic wasn't on and the second time I accidentally had audio in my OBS which was louder than my mic volume, so if I tried to scale it up it would just overpowered my mic. So here we are, we're doing a drawing of Reaper and this is the time lapse, so I'm just going to be talking over and discussing my thoughts and process over this video. So let's just jump right into it. So we're doing base construction right now. I got a really good reference photo in sort of like the pose that inspired me a lot. It wasn't like the best in actual like usefulness because it was someone wearing quite baggy clothing, but in just terms of like inspiration of like what to do for the pose, it definitely just like immediately made me think of what like the outcome is going to be. Originally it was actually going to be Genji, but as I sort of started to like put down the construction and the anatomy, I was thinking to myself, this is probably going to be better for Reaper, purely because the reference wasn't like that great in terms of anatomy. Genji wears quite like tight like armor looking stuff, and I thought it was going to be quite hard to do that, but then I was like, okay, Reaper has quite more baggy and like big armored clothing, so I'd much rather draw him just for my sake and for the piece's sake. So as you can see, I'm just sort of putting down that sketch, going over like my ideas and stuff, using a reference for Reaper's like concept art as like the reference for his design and stuff, because I actually prefer his concept art over his in-game look because he has these really big forearms, and right now like the top forearm isn't too big, but I do change that later on. So as you can see, I'm just going through the sketch, starting the line work now. I'm really happy with the general direction of the piece. The sort of idea I was going for when I changed the idea to Reaper was he was like fleeing from like a building and he like entered his wraith form, and he jumped out of like a window. So he, in the final bit of the piece, I start taking out chunks of the design and turning it into like this wispy fire stuff to make it look like he's sort of disintegrating into his wraith form, which I thought was a cool idea since like the pose also resembles that form quite heavily in terms of just having his arms up in the air. So he's sort of folding into like a city, and there's like a light coming from below and then light coming from behind where like the flames are like protruding from his body, I guess. As you can see though, I'm just continuing lining, getting down all those things, make sure it's clean and looks good and there's no gaps, so like my colouring is easier for myself. Then adding a little bit more detail, just sort of mapping out what I'm going to do for the later portions of the piece. I can't even remember if I did add this, but I had bullets like flying past, like as if he was like being shot at by like guards or something in like the top of the building, and he sort of like the bullets are either going through his body or like just missing him completely. But I can't even remember if I ended up putting that into the piece. But as you can see here, adding in those flame parts now before I get to like the rendering process where I'll be making those flames really feel alive with a lot of effects and stuff. I had a ton of layers for this piece. It was like 100 layers in the end because sometimes I just can't think of what to do, so I just added in a bunch of different textures and stuff, and it comes out looking alright, but it's definitely a laggy process for my computer or my laptop. So as you can see here, getting to this texturing phase which I was just talking about, where I'm just chucking a texture on every part of the body so it has a bit more depth and grittiness similar to Reaper's character. Now you can see I'm just doing that really big like shape shading, so I'm using just like a normal brush and like the normal pressurized sensitivity brush and just going over and mapping out my general shadows, and then I go down to the more medium detailing with a paintbrush, and at the end I go down to the very small stuff like on like the shoes and in like the really small crevices with the same brush, and just sort of I almost like shading negatively, if you know what I mean. So I put down the shadows and then I carve it out with the brush. I just feel like it comes out neater because when I use actual shadows, it always makes it like just shading normally. It makes a shape that I'm not happy with, and when I try to trim away at it, because the shadow is so small, it's just like one brush stroke, it ends up just getting rid of the like entire shadow by the end of it. So I prefer just doing like that negative method, even though it isn't really helpful when I have these putting down these big shadows. But I don't know, it's a weird process, but I enjoy it for the most part. as you can see here, just going in, making sure everything really pops in terms of the flames and like the shadows, as I said before, doing all the stuff in the feet to make sure like the form is sort of implied through the shadows. And as you can see there, I'm just sort of getting references for a background. I wanted it to be like a big skyline, but then I changed it to just like a mirror in front of a building, because like the perspectives weren't really working with what I was thinking of. So what I ended up doing, you'll see in a second, is I literally copy and pasted I exported the PNG of Reaper, then I blurred it a ton, put it in the background, put like a grey brush stroke in to make it look like it's like a metal pole in between windows, and then put some like snowdrops / like broken glass, and then I put the light source coming from below like as if a city, and I did that in both the foreground as well as the background, and then I chucked a moon in the top to make it look like the night sky. Anyway, there's the piece, as you can see, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you want me to like doing stuff on the channel, maybe more tutorial based stuff. Even though I'm not a super skilled artist right now, I'm happy to literally do anything you guys want, so just put it down below, and I'll definitely reply to your comments with any ideas. And anyway, like and subscribe if you guys enjoy, and catch you guys in the next one. See ya.